Alright you guys, welcome to the channel. I am back with another video here to break down Ohio State's 34-10 thumping over the Michigan State Spartans tonight on primetime ABC. The Buckeyes blow out Sparty for the third straight meeting. So I'm going to break down this game a little bit, talk about everything that happened in this game, and then we'll talk about big picture for this 2019 Ohio State team, what my expectations are, what I think this team can accomplish as the season gets further along. So we'll get into all that stuff. Make sure you watch this video until the end. If you're new to the channel or you're a big Ohio State fan, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. So coming into this game, all I heard all week was Ohio State's not going to be able to run the ball. This Michigan State defensive line is too freaking good. They're the number 7th overall rated defense in the country through the first 5 weeks. And I heard it's going to have to be Justin Fields that beats them. And there's a chance he's going to be shook. He hasn't seen a defense like Michigan State so far this year. And if Justin Fields can't beat this Michigan State defense by himself, basically, there's a chance Sparty could pull the upset in this game like Michigan State has done a couple times over the last 6 years. Now, in the first quarter, it looked like Justin Fields was a little shook. The Ohio State offensive line was getting manhandled. J.K. Dobbins had no running room. And it looked like Michigan State was going to back up a lot of that talk that we heard all week long. Ohio State just 1 for 5 on third down in the first quarter. Ohio State had just 16 total yards in the first quarter. Now, they've been dominating teams in the first half all year long. This is the first time that they've really been shut down by a team for even a quarter. So the first quarter was ugly. Michigan State had 2 fumbles on their first couple of drives. Ohio State could only cash in a field goal. So it was a defensive battle in the first quarter. Ohio State led 3-0 after the first. And a lot of people jumped on Twitter. Is this the game that Ohio State plays down to their opponent? Is Michigan State better than people thought? And I said to people, or it's just the first quarter. Ryan Day is going to make adjustments. He's the king at in-game adjustments, something that Urban Meyer had slipped on over the last few years. Urban just kept doing the same thing over and over and over, and most of the time it would work, but when it didn't and a team figured us out because we were so predictable at times, then you'd end up with an Iowa or Purdue game. That's not going to happen to this 2019 Ohio State team because Ryan Day can make adjustments on the fly. He did that in the second quarter, and Ohio State came out and just ran over Michigan State in the second quarter. Justin Fields would find Ben Victor for a 60-yard touchdown, making it 10-0. The Spartans would come right down after that. Lewerke hit Darrell Stewart Jr. for a 20-yard touchdown. Stewart stood over Jeffrey Okudah and taunted him. Stewart was going at it with basically everybody in the Ohio State secondary. It was a good battle back and forth all night. Stewart is a hell of a player, but at the end of the day, take that L, bro. You just can't talk trash to Ohio State that early in the game because at the end of the day, they're going to get you. And he's a phenomenal player, but at the end of the day, you got your ass whooped. It wasn't even competitive, and all that trash talking, it just makes you look foolish in the end. But give credit to him on that catch. He did make it 10-7. It looked like Ohio State's defense might bend a little bit. Lewerke came right down, led a good drive for Michigan State, made it 10-7, and it's like, okay, maybe we're going to get into a little bit of a shootout here. Justin Fields would then have a big 40-yard run on third down, which would set up a 21-yard touchdown from Fields to Luke Farrell, making it 17-7. And that was a great play by Farrell. Caught it over the middle at about the 5-yard line and carried about 4 Michigan State defenders into the end zone. That made it 17-7. Now, this bothered me. We had a taunting penalty on the kickoff by Marcus Hooker, which gave Michigan State great field position at the 40-yard line. Michigan State would cash in on that field position, making it 17-10 on a field goal. And then J.K. Dobbins would break out for a 67-yard touchdown to the house. That made it 24-10. And then Ohio State defense really from that point just completely shut down Michigan State. Stewart had a big drop. Ohio State got the ball back right before half. Hobble made a 43-yard field goal. Hobble was 2 for 3 tonight. That was a big-time field goal by him. 43-yarder before half made it 27-10. And the game was basically over at that point. You knew Michigan State's not an offense where they can come back from a big deficit. And being down 27-10 on the road in Columbus, the game was over. Michigan State hung in for the first quarter. They battled. And then, like I said, there's only so long they were going to be able to contain this Ohio State offense. So a big second quarter for the Buckeyes. They score 24 points. They go over 200 yards in the second quarter. And Ohio State, listen to this. In the first half, through the first 6 games, Ohio State has over 200 points this year. So that's 3 games total. If you're taking 6 games and you're taking just the first half, Total, that would be playing 3 games. Ohio State has 200 points in the first half so far this season. So just imagine if games weren't blowouts and they actually tried to put up points in the second half. Their numbers would be ridiculous as far as points per game, but 200 points so far in the first half this year is pretty amazing. So the Buckeyes took a 27-10 lead into halftime. Michigan State had an impressive drive on their first drive of the second half, but their kicker would shank a 27-yard field goal. Coughlin, however you pronounce it, and that was really just a demoralizing drive for Michigan State because they drive right down. It's the third quarter, they're down 17, they're putting together a nice drive, and then it stalls. They can't make a play on third down. They have to settle for a field goal, and Coughlin shanks a 27-yarder. So real tough for Michigan State there. Chase Young brought pressure on that field goal attempt for the second time tonight. I thought he was going to block the first one by Michigan State, and then it looked like he might have a chance to block the second one too. Chase Young's just a monster. I mean, he's just one of the biggest difference makers in college football. Even though he's on the defensive side of the ball, this kid is having a ridiculous season right now. I think he has 10 sacks already this year, on pace for about 25 sacks. If he does that, he should be in the Heisman conversation, even though there's no chance that he will be. But Ohio State up 27-10 in the third quarter. Justin Fields would throw his first interception of 2019. Sad moment. Fields hadn't thrown an interception yet, picked off by Josiah Scott. Ohio State was driving down, trying to put up some more points, and Josiah Scott picked off Justin Fields. Justin just overthrew KJ Hill. KJ wasn't really paying attention, and Josiah Scott was there for the interception. But the Buckeyes D would force a punt. Ohio State, at this point, their defense was just completely manhandling Michigan State's offensive line, which was missing 4 starting offensive linemen in this game. Might as well point that out. It wasn't a fair fight from the beginning. Michigan State did come into this game real shorthanded on the offensive line, and not good when you're going up against this Ohio State defensive line, which is just completely loaded. In the fourth quarter, the Buckeyes would march down Justin Fields a 1-yard rushing touchdown, making it 34-10. And this was the 6th straight game that Justin Fields registered a rushing touchdown. So all 6 games this year, Justin Fields has thrown a touchdown or multiple touchdowns, and also had a rushing touchdown. So what a phenomenal season that Justin Fields is having. 26 touchdowns, 1 interception. He does have the 2 fumbles. He fumbled late in this game. But he should be right up there on any Heisman list right now with Joe Burrow, with Jalen Hurts, with Tua Tagovailoa. To me, those would be the front runners for the Heisman. You can throw Jonathan Taylor in there, but don't forget about J.K. Dobbins. Tonight, J.K., 24 carries, 172 yards, a touchdown. He's averaging 7.2 yards per carry this year. He's over 800 yards through the first 6 games. So J.K. Dobbins is setting himself up for a monster junior season. He said it coming into the year. Last year was a failure. I'm going to bounce back this year. I'm going to be the guy I was as a freshman, but even better. J.K. Dobbins looks amazing this year. He's in great shape. He looks faster. His moves are quicker. It looks like he's running downhill. When he gets a hole, J.K. Dobbins looks way faster than he did last year. I said all last year, why doesn't J.K. look that fast? Mike Weber looked faster than J.K. last year, and I remembered J.K.'s freshman year, and I'm like, dude, this kid was lightning fast. He's back to that in 2019. J.K. Dobbins, I'm pretty sure, leads the nation in rushing right now. So that's another guy you could throw on the Heisman list. Ohio State right now has 3 guys that should probably at least be in the top 10 for the Heisman discussion maybe. Chase Young, Justin Fields, and J.K. Dobbins. But that was the last score of the game. Ohio State went up 34-10. Buckeyes really just ran out the clock the rest of the game. Michigan State kept trying to score, and Lewerke just kept getting sacked or getting pressured. Justin Fields did have that fumble when Ohio State tried to drive down, and then the Jordan Fuller interception late in the game, returned for a touchdown. I just think that's a bogus call right there because a player's not looking. It's a illegal block because you blindside somebody. I mean, that they implemented that rule this year. I think that's a completely bogus penalty right there. I've been watching football for 20 years. That's never been called, and I don't think it should be called now. Jordan Fuller should have had a touchdown there. Should have been 41-10, but I will take the 24-point win. Ohio State covers that 20-point spread, and another dominant victory. It's funny because they win 34-10, and you almost feel like you're not quite satisfied. You just feel like they should have put up 50. But this is a really good Michigan State defense. The fact that Ohio State even put up 34 and could have put up way more if they didn't keep kicking themselves. Just a few mistakes by Ohio State, plus the penalties tonight. Ohio State's been avoiding penalties all year long. They're only averaging 4 penalties a game this year. Tonight they had 10. A couple of them were, the trash talking back and forth, the taunting, I'm spacing it right now. I'm tired as hell. I had a long-ass work day. But a couple of penalties were just dumb stuff. But there were more holdings tonight, a couple false starts. So got to clean that up. I really like the fact that Ohio State was not committing a lot of penalties this year. They weren't turning the ball over, and they weren't committing penalties. Tonight they did have 10 penalties. They did turn the ball over twice. So if you're going to nitpick, those would be the negatives of tonight's game. But overall, defensively, absolutely dominant. Offense, another really solid performance tonight. Justin Fields, let me look up his numbers here. I believe he was 17 of 25, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. He also rushed for 61 yards and a touchdown. So a typical Justin Fields line, he's going to give you 200 passing, he's going to give you 70, 80 rushing, he's going to give you multiple touchdowns, and usually he doesn't have a turnover, but he did tonight. Like I said, J.K. Dobbins, huge game, 172 rushing yards, but also Master Teague. He came in late in the game and just pounded the hell out of Michigan State's defense. 14 carries, 90 yards. Ben Victor, another big game, 3 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. The receivers, like I said, their numbers are going to drop off this year because this is a balanced Ohio State offense. They're averaging 260 passing yards, and they're averaging 280 rushing yards. That was coming into the game. That's Ohio State football right there. They run the ball, they play defense, and that's Ohio State football. Last year, averaging 170 rushing yards and like 400 passing yards. That's not Ohio State football. And the only reason they did that is because they had so many flaws last year. Give credit to the 2018 team for going 13-1, winning the Rose Bowl, winning the Big Ten. But that team had a lot of flaws. The defense gave up 25 points a game. They couldn't run the ball, and it was all on Haskins and the receivers. This year, this is a balanced team. Justin Fields has proved that he can really throw the ball. He's pretty accurate downfield, and he spreads it out. You got Victor, you got Hill, you got Wilson, Farrell, Mack, Rucker. These guys all get a little bit, but they're not going to get numbers like they did last year with Dwayne Haskins, and that's fine. Because like I said, this is a balanced attack. They can really run the ball this year. Now, hopefully Thayer Mumford is okay. He got rolled up on, hurt his ankle. We'll see over the next week or so how he's doing. Hopefully he can get back. Don't want to miss him on the offensive line, but Ohio State's offensive line is playing at an elite level right now, and if they can continue to just keep playing like this, stay hungry, I don't see any reason why this Ohio State team doesn't have a chance to win a national championship this year. Now, they got a really tough schedule ahead. They still got to play Wisconsin. They still got to play Penn State, which is the team I'm probably most worried about. I think Penn State's really good. They can put up points. They got a nasty defensive line. That's a really good team over there with Penn State. And then, of course, we're going to have to play Michigan last game of the year. Breaking news, Michigan did win a semi-big game today. They beat a ranked team in Iowa who was undefeated. Michigan won at home today against Iowa 10-3 in a really ugly game, a defensive battle. Shea Patterson was complete trash like he always is, but Michigan did have 3 interceptions in that game, and they did just enough to win. So Michigan's season is not completely over yet. They still only have 1 loss. They're hanging in this thing, but I think they're going to have a tough reality check when the Buckeyes roll in there the last week of the season. I think Ohio State is just going to completely destroy Michigan this year. I mean, they're going to make last year look like a close game. I really believe that. I think Ohio State is going to it's going to be ugly. It really, really is. As good as this Ohio State defense is this year, Shea Patterson, you're shit out of luck, dude, because you got to deal with Chase Young and Jonathan Cooper and these linebackers, Malik Harrison, Pete Warner, this secondary. Shea Patterson is screwed. Let's just say that right now. And Michigan, they're still good defensively this year, but I think Iowa's just not a very good offensive team. I think Ohio State can put up 35-plus points on Michigan, and I don't think Michigan can put up more than maybe 14 on Ohio State on a good day. So, like I said, Penn State's the team I'm probably most worried about, but that Wisconsin game, probably the most highly anticipated game of the 2019 college football season. That's going to be a big-time game right there. I think Ohio State, if they can just Jonathan Taylor, if they can just limit him I think Ohio State can beat Wisconsin by multiple touchdowns. I'm not sold on Jack Cohn. I think he's better than Hornibrook, but I don't think he's anything special. Their defense is really good, but I think Ohio State's offense can pick apart pretty much any defense right now. So I like Ohio State in that game against Wisconsin, but the thing is they're probably going to have to play them twice because Ohio State's probably going to come out of the East unless Penn State, does beat the Buckeyes. I'm assuming Ohio State's going to come out of the East. I'm assuming Wisconsin's going to come out of the West, even if they lose to Ohio State. And, even if the Buckeyes beat Wisconsin in a couple weeks, they're going to have to beat them again in the Big Ten Championship. So Ohio State's got a really tough path to the college football playoff. Right now, they have the second best odds to make the college football playoff. It's like 60-something%. But I don't think they can afford a loss. They definitely can't lose. Well, I guess they could lose to Wisconsin because then they could avenge the loss. Maybe that's the team we would want to lose to not saying we want to lose a game because we definitely don't. I want to see Ohio State run the table this year, but if they were to lose to anybody, would it be Wisconsin you'd want to lose to? No, because if you lost to Penn State, then Penn State gets to the Big Ten Championship. So let's just make it simple. Let's just run the table, and then let's just beat Wisconsin again in the Big Ten Championship, go into the college football playoff undefeated, and then you don't have to leave it up to the committee to find some reason to leave Ohio State out again this year. And right now, Ohio State has shown no reason why they should be left out of the college football playoff as long as they keep playing like this. So I'm impressed by Ryan Day. I think he's proving a lot of the doubters wrong. He's proven right now that he's a big-time coach, man. Ryan Day's the real deal. Hopefully he stays at Ohio State for a long time. He's doing great in recruiting, and he's a fantastic coach, man. So really proud of Ryan Day, proud of this Ohio State team as a whole. Again, thank you to the football gods and to Georgia and Kirby Smart for letting Justin Fields come to Columbus. Just so happy that he's a Buckeye. He's an amazing football player, and he's not just here for 1 year. He'll be here next year as the starting quarterback too. So overall, I'm just pumped right now, man. It feels good to watch a complete Ohio State football team this year. The last couple years, they've still been great, but there's just too many flaws. There's too many buts with Ohio State the last couple years. This year, there's no but. This is a complete football team, man, and they're on a mission to go out and just murder everybody in their way. So I'm excited for the rest of the season, man. I see big things for this Ohio State team for the rest of the 2019 season. But that's basically all I got. Buckeyes roll again tonight, 34 to 10, over Michigan State. The best thing about being 6-0 is the chance to be 7-0, as Urban Meyer famously says all the time. I'm sure he posted that on Twitter tonight. Still love Urban, man. Got a lot of respect for that guy, but happy with the Ryan Day era so far, for sure. Happy that we got to start over with Coach Day. Really like what he's doing so far. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I thank you for watching this video. You guys let me know down below in the comment section what you thought of Ohio State's performance tonight against Michigan State. Let me know what you think of Ohio State so far through the first 6 games. Do they look like the best team in the country right now? Do you think they're the most complete team in college football? Do you have to see more? Do you have to see them beat Wisconsin and Penn State until you really buy in? And what do you think of Ryan Day so far? How's he done so far in his first year as head coach at Ohio State? A lot of expectations on him. High expectations. You're expected to win every game, and so far he's done that. So you guys let me know all that down below in the comment section. I thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will check y'all later. Go Buckeyes, and everybody have a good night.